All right, so first off, I want to say all praise to Yahweh, in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. Double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of a great millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number. All right, so what we're going to do today is touch on this prophecy, all right, this warning that we find here in Revelation, the 13th chapter, verses 16, 17, and 18. All right, so Lord, we're going to read that a little bit, and then we're going to go into Google AI. All right, Lord willing, it'll be a quick video and edifying. All right, so hold on a second. Let me grab this scripture. All right, so Revelation chapter 13, starting at verse 16. Okay, it reads, "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." Verse 18 reads, "Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636." Okay, so those are the verses of this warning, and we're just going to go straight to Google AI and see what it says to break down and how it relates to this world. Okay, so again, what is the breakdown of Revelation 13 verses 16 through 18? Okay, also, what are some very open and plain ways to see the current world heading into exactly what the men of the Lord say will happen through the Spirit and power of the Lord, of course, okay, as far as the MOTB is concerned. All right, so it says the breakdown of Revelation 13, 16 through 18, okay? These verses are treated as a literal technological blueprint for the end times, specifically identifying the implantable RFID or NFC micro CHIP as the mark of the beast. RFID meaning radio frequency ID, and the NFC is near field communication. Okay, speaking of this technology. All right, and yes, we already do know that this has been in the earth. It is in the earth. All right, we haven't said anything different than that. All right, the difference between this prophecy coming to pass and the technology already being here in the earth is that the He in verse 16 has to cause it all or to make mandatory. All right, and He is Esau, Edom. All right, specifically the top banking families. All right, the top banking families. All right, so the biblical breakdown. Okay, it says GMS teachers focus heavily on the original Greek terminology within the 1611 KJV to support their claims. Verse 16, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, right? In versus on. It says they emphasize the word in to argue for a device inserted beneath the skin, right, subdermally, rather than a surface level mark like a tattoo or a symbolic belief, all right, which we're not telling you to go and get tattoos just because a tattoo is not the mark of the beast, all right, but we're telling you that this is more, all right, than just something on the surface level of your skin. This is going to go beneath your skin, subdermal, all right, charagma, all right, which is the Greek word for mark in the context of this warning that we're reading, all right. It says the Greek word for mark is charagma. GMS breaks this down to its roots, or to its root, karasso, which means to sharpen to a point or to engrave. They link this to the syringe or sharp point used to inject the micro C hip, all right, the Carox. It's a big syringe looking thing, okay? It looks like a regular needle, except for thicker, all right? Thick enough to hold one of those micro C hips in, all right? And you can see this all over the place. Just go to micro, micro C hip, all right? You have to put those words together, the word micro, the letter C, and the word hip, all right? Micro C hip. All right, go look that up. Micro C hip, implantable micro C hip technology. You can look up a couple of examples that we give. All right, or one is Walletmore, WALLETMOR. That is one word. All right, you can type that in. You can type it into YouTube and go look up that. All right, go look up them videos and look at the implanting device and the thing that's getting implanted. Okay, and also look at the technology. All right, the one that we give for an example of the MotB in the head or in the forehead, all right, which is a space between the eyes or the metapon, all right, that for an example we give Neuralink or Elon Musk's brain technology. Okay, go look these things up. All right, you can take note of the names surrounding this technology, but they can always change names and people. Okay, so just go look at this technology. All right, that's the point. Verse 17 now. All right, it says that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. All right, this points to economic control. All right, it says this is interpreted as the beast system. Western power structures, all right, for the most part now. This is what we're focused on because we are here in the West in what is called America, BKA to us, or better known as to us, or AKA, also known as um, Babylon the Great, okay, or AKA, or also known as the future site of the Lake of Fire. All right, that's what this place is. Okay, so yes, this truth is focused on the Western power structures, specifically here in America. All right, Babylon the Great. So again, this one speaks to economic control. All right, verse 17 says this is interpreted as the beast system transitioning to a completely cashless society. Without the C hip, an individual is physically unable to access their bank account, buy food, or pay bills. All right, you're not going to be able to participate in society. Therefore, the essentials that it takes to get through life, all right, clothing on your back, food on the table, and a roof over your head, all right, they're going to be more strenuous to come by if you're able to come by them at all right, they're not gonna let you play the fence either. All right, the Lord isn't going to let you play both sides of the fence, and neither is Esau. All right, you're either on a side or you are not. All right, and that's coming from both ways. Okay, all right. So with Esau, you're not going to be able to participate in society unless you receive this mark. All right. As far as verse 18, okay, calculate the number of the beast, 600, three score, and six. This is the Chi Xi stigma. All right, the Greek letters for 666 are Chi, Xi, and stigma. Okay, the 600, the 60, and the 6. All right, and the 6 is the stigma. Okay, so it says GMS focuses on the third letter, stigma, which historically refers to a brand or a mark of disgrace. All right, is the badge of servitude to the ones that are the anti or the ones that are against the Messiah. As far as a brand, what does a brand act as? All right, it shows ownership. So if you have something on you that shows ownership, when the Lord comes, all right, you have something on you that points to ownership. All right, your ownership, your owner being Esau, Edom. Okay, you have that mark on you, the charagma, instead of the thawa, which is the mark of exemption that you get from the Lord. What do you think is going to happen? All right, you pick the side, man. Okay, so expect no mercy if you get this thing when the Lord returns. All right. It says they argue this identifies the mark as a physical stabbing or pricking of the flesh, and that indeed is what it is. All right. We don't care if you don't believe. Okay, this is exactly what this mark of the beast is. All right. Period, point blank. Okay. A lot of people is just gonna go over your head like a lot of this other truth that we tell you. All right. You're gonna ignore it. You're gonna scoff at it. But in the end, you're gonna wish you had listened. It doesn't matter what part of the truth this is. All right. In the end, you're going to wish you had listened. Okay. So plain ways the world is heading into this vision. It says proponents of this doctrine point to several current global trends as open and plain evidence that the infrastructure for this prophecy is already active and ripe, we tell you. All right, this world is ripe for these conditions. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Baal Shem Shai. Okay, the push for digital ID and biometrics. All right, they may have made it seem like they're easing off on the push for digital ID, but there's still a push for biometrics. All right, YouTube also. A lot of these uh, social media sites, all right, are harassing for biometrics here more lately. Okay, it's going to get worse. All right, it's going to be more and more as time goes because again, prophecy is where everything is headed. Okay, it says governments worldwide are moving toward digital identity systems. In the UK, for example, new digital ID frameworks are being introduced for employment and financial services, which interpreters see as the precursor to mandatory identifiers. All right. Do you think that they're going to get a little bit of grip on you and not keep tightening it? Give them the digital ID. They're going to, doesn't matter what you do, but what we're saying is all these things are gradual steps towards this. Okay. And these gradual steps also come with denial. They're not gonna all of a sudden just start telling you the truth about this shit, man. Okay, they're gonna deny it because you people fall for it, right? Until this thing is inside of you. All right, then everything that we're saying is gonna hit you in the mouth a few times, man. Okay, plain upon tables is what the men of the Lord have made this thing. All right, but many people are gonna fail this open book test anyway. Okay, again because prophecy calls for it. It says the transition to cashless societies. It says the rapid phasing out of physical currency in favor of the central bank digital currencies or CBDCs provide the technical ability to turn off a person's ability to buy or sell instantly if they do not comply with the government mandates. All right, you are getting corralled into a digital cage, man. We call it e-carceration. Okay, people don't see the bars around them, so they don't believe they exist. All right, but they very much do. Okay. The fact that you don't think that there's any a digital cage being wrapped around you is proof of that. All right, your mind is already locked up. Social credit systems. It says China's social credit system is often cited as a prototype. It tracks behavior and can restrict access to travel, housing, and luxury goods based on a digital score, mirroring the economic exclusion described in Revelation 13. And yes, if you deny that you can see this coming to America, and you really got your brain on lock. All right, and a bunch of smoke blowing up your ass, man. You can't see this. Okay, that way right there. Social credit systems is a way of making people think they're free. All right, but you just put them in a smaller pen. All right, you're free to roam around in this smaller pen as much as you can. All right, but it's a smaller pen. All right, more restrictions on your ass, man. Okay, normalizing microchip implants. This talks about the gradualism that we just talked about. All right, while still niche, thousands of people in countries like Sweden have voluntarily received microchip implants for workplace access, transit, and payments. Critics see this convenience as a boiling the frog strategy to make the public comfortable with subdermal technology and plus herd mentality. All right, well, we see all these people got it. Okay, and they look right. All right, because a lot of people still think white means pure even when it comes to skin color. Okay, so you're gonna think that that's the top example to do. All right, follow these people who voluntarily, all right, got separated from the Lord, man. You lost your fucking mind. All right, keep following after these people. Okay, and you are going to get left because prophecy calls for it, man. Okay, global health passes. Excuse me. The infrastructure built for digital vaccine passports during the pandemic is viewed as a trial run for global scannable verification systems that determines who can participate in public life. And like we said earlier, they're not going to tighten up the reins just to loosen them later. You done lost your mind. All right? They tighten them up to reset so they can tighten again. Okay? And they're funneling the whole world into coming face to face with this micro C hip. And most of the world is going to take it. Okay? So, this is what I asked. I said, can you talk about how peace, convenience, and safety will be used to push this technology? All right? It says the implementation of the micro C hip or the mark of the beast won't initially feel like an act of overt tyranny to the masses. Instead, they believe, or we believe, all right, the men of the Lord believe that the ones in power, okay, a coalition of Western nations, often identified as the EU, NATO, and the USA, will market this technology through the seductive promise of peace, convenience, and safety. And oh, are they going to do that, man? That's that's the uh that's the sugar for you people, man. You addicted to the sugar of the world today. That is nothing but bad for you and fucks you up. All right, this is the same sugar. All right, in a different sense. All right, these lies about peace, convenience, and safety. All right, are going to be the dainties that you people are after. Okay, and the things that lead you to death. All right, the things that lead you to enmity with the Lord. All right, and again, you're going to regret it, man. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see. It says we interpret this to mean that the beast powers will use global crises, all right, wars, economic collapses, or even pandemics like they did back in 2020, right, to push this thing. Any uh crisis, all right, they're gonna use or they can use. You people are all ripe for the picking, man. Lord willing, I'm not of that number. All right. But they're waiting on a collapse, it says, to offer the micro C hip as the ultimate solution for a stable society. All right, people, the problems that they cause are going to cause a collapse. Then they're going to tell you people to get shit back stable. Just accept this. All right, accept this as our token of appreciation. Okay, picking a side, pick our side, man. Choose us, and we'll give you this, this, and this. And damn near not, well, not nan one of you people who pick it are even going to think about the Lord, man, until maybe right after you take it. All right, and I don't even want to imagine that feeling, man. Okay, I'd imagine you're gonna feel sick, like sick to your stomach. You ain't gonna be able to do shit about it, man. But await the Lord and His anger to come. Mm. Man, I can't. Yeah, I can't imagine that. I don't even. Lord willing, I'm of the remnant, the elect. All right, this is what we hope for. This is why we say hopeful. Again, all right. So conflict resolution. It says in a world of rising geopolitical tension, a unified digital system is framed as a way to harmonize global trade and eliminate the friction that leads to war. All right, and there's a lot of wars that got to be put out. Okay, there's a lot of shit going on in this place. All right, that this micro C hip could act as the savior for. All right, and that's how they're gonna push it. Whatever your ears love to hear. All right, you 2/3 and the rest of you people of the world, whatever you love to hear, they got it. They got it. They already know it, man. It's the same things that you love to hear that keep you away from listening to the words of the Lord now. Okay? Order out of chaos. It says the elite, right, the Edomites intentionally create chaos so that the public will beg for the order and safety that a trackable, injectable ID provides. And man, y'all gonna be in line waiting for this thing, just like you was waiting for the thing that they pushed in 2020 that murked a lot of people. Okay? And I'm not a doctor. This isn't medical advice. Let me say that too. I am not a doctor. This is not medical advice. Okay? So, let's talk about the allure of convenience. It says the transition from a physical world to a digital one is paved with small wins for the average consumer. All right, the walletless life. Proponents of this doctrine point to the current normalization of biometric payments and palm scanning kiosks as pre-programming. All right, you don't have to take the stuff out of your wallet anymore. You can just scan your phone or your palm. And they just getting closer and closer to your palm, getting you used to it. Gradualism again. All right? Don't worry, man. The whole world is going to see that this has been the truth. All right? Seamless access. It says in workplaces and universities, micro C-hips are already marketed as a way to never lose your keys, forget your password, or carry a badge again. All right, the men of the Lord sees this convenience as the bait that leads people to voluntarily accept the beast system. Now, this is what the and the system are its ways and its beliefs. All right, okay. This is the way to get you to accept the mark of the beast. All right, that badge that shows whose side you're on. Okay, but this is the time to voluntarily receive this stuff, man. They're not even threatening people, and people are lining up to get separated from the Lord. You might as well just call it that now. Lining up to get separated from the Lord, man. All right, in droves, especially over there in Sweden. Okay, eliminating identity theft. It says one of the strongest selling points for digital IDs and CHIPs is that they are unstealable by making your body the authentication token. The beast promises to solve the problem of fraud once and for all. And before we get to this point, all right, you have to start paying attention to fraud being on the uptick, being in your face on all these news stations. All right, look at all these crimes, all the things of the world going on, the calamities, the other crises. Look at this as opportunities to push this MOTB. That's how you should start looking at all this stuff. All right, I see this is getting pushed on the news today. So let me see. Phone theft is up. Uh, credit card theft is up. Identity theft is up. What can solve all this? All right. What can solve uh, time waiting? All right. People are impatient as fuck to go nowhere. All right. What can solve all these things? All right. This is all headed towards prophecy, like we keep saying. Okay. So safety and global control says the beast powers use safety to justify the total surveillance required by the mark. All right. Medical safety. We note that medical micro C-hips are often presented as a life-saving tool, storing your blood type, allergies, and history so that if you are unconscious, doctors can scan you to save your life. That's going to catch a lot of people. All right, people who can't speak and are paralyzed and can't say one way or another if they want this. A lot of their family just gonna sign them up for this shit. All right, because they love their life in this world and they want someone who they feel is less fortunate to love their life in this world. So we're gonna sign you up to get this badge of servitude to the ones that are against the Messiah. How about that? We're gonna sign you up so you can be separated from the Lord. But guess what? You'll be able to direct the mouse with your mind. All right, that's a fair trade off, ain't it? All right, I'll be able to steer a mouse, but I'll be separated from the Lord. Let me think about this. It's that big of a decision. You got to think about that shit. Man, y'all done lost your mind, man. All right, child protection. This is another thing. All right, that's on the rise. All right, even the knowing that these people in power, all right, a lot of them are have to do with this stuff, man. To where you need child protection. Okay, but all their methods, everything that they're up to behind the scenes, are going to lead to this MOTB being the solution for it too. All right. So child protection. The technology is often suggested as a way to prevent kidnappings or track missing persons, making it socially difficult to argue against keeping our children safe. You see, painted you into a corner, and that corner says keeping our children safe by any means necessary. So you're gonna go and sign your kid up for a micro C hip, all right? Or maybe your child will sign up for a micro C hip themselves, okay? But this is what it's all going to, man. This thing is in the world, and it is coming, all right? On a global level, on a global scale, okay? And it's pointing to prophecy, man. Filter this through the scriptures. Go and look. Go and look at this technology and see if there's anything else like it that is on the scene, okay, in these times. All right, and we so close to the end. This is what it got to be. All right, economic security says by linking all finances to a CHIP, the beast claims to protect your wealth from bank runs or physical theft. All right, putting your trust and faith in the ones who destroyed the reasoning behind why you should put your trust and faith in them. But now you're going to trust something new from them, right? A new system of theirs. Like I said, it's madness to even trust these motherfuckers, man. Madness. All right, it's about time us Israelites put our trust in Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. All right, but not all of us will. We know that. But that doesn't change the fact that that's where our trust needs to be. Okay? So again, economic security by linking all finances to a CHIP. The beast claims to protect your wealth from bank runs or physical theft, while simultaneously gaining the power to block your finances if you do not comply with the system. Remember, we always say this, whether it be banking system, your health, or whatever the case may be. If they can turn something on, they can turn something off. All right? So, last but not least, all right, the beast powers identified. All right, we, the men of the Lord, identify these powers when we've been talking about beast powers as the modern revival of the Roman Empire. All right, really, Esau, Edom's rule, his dominion. Okay, but it's about up. Number one, the EU and NATO, often seen as the Ten Horns, a coalition of European nations that provide the political and military structure of the system. Okay. Number two, the USA, identified as Babylon the Great, or the two-horned beast that looks like a lamb. Okay. Freedom loving, or so they say. All right. They talk to you all docile, like they don't mean any harm when it's that season of voting. I can't believe a lot of you people are still doing that either. But then once they get into power, nothing for the people ever goes right, man. It all goes downhill, no matter which side gets in there. The noose gets tightened up a little bit more. All right. They take a step forward. We take three backwards. I'm speaking as uh, someone in knee deep in the shit. All right, in society, not in these elite circles, man. It doesn't matter who gets into power. All right, they whoever gets in there is someone that can get a little further, pushing what they need done. Okay, and then the next year they swap. All right. So again, the USA identified as Babylon the Great, or the two-horned beast that looks like a lamb but speaks like a dragon. All right, they're tyrannical. Okay, nothing but tyranny. It says ultimately forcing the world to accept the technology. All right, and this is where this is all headed, man. Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 through 18. All right, go and look at those examples that we gave, Wallet More and Neuralink, and filter all things through the scriptures, man. This is where this is headed. All right, and the water to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai for giving us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in this day, especially. All right, we're almost out of here, brothers. So, again, I hope this video came through as edifying and sincere. Okay, but with that, like I say, all praise to Yahweh in the name of His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. All right, double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the Prophets of Doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, I would like to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I'm of that number, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.